All right. Thank you so much, guys, for coming through. And I hope we have a fun session with the panelists and also getting to hear from you guys as well. Your experiences navigating, everything that you've had to navigate through to get here. So I'm going to start off with the panel. Could you just, introduce yourselves briefly and then we dive right into it? Yeah. You want to go? Who wants to go first?
Hello everyone, My name is Tafadzwa. I prefer to be called Fafi. Yeah, I do not know what more information you'd like to hear from me, but just
Okay.
Are you a lesbian?
Oh yeah, we're getting right into the questions.
It is about identity.
Of course, I identify as a lesbian as of now. I'm still having issues with identity, but we are still going to get into that. Yeah.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
My name is Vivo. Do you want to know my age?
Yeah,
What age?
I'm 16. I am, for now, I'm a lesbian. my doors are open to suggestions, but yeah, for now.
Cool. Best for last. No, my name is Tino. Just call me Tino. I am a gay man. And probably so. Team bottom for life.
All right. Oh, wow. Was that all? Okay.
Oh, we can have more.
No, don't worry. But I guess, we might as well start with the simple stuff before we go to the hard. Because, you said you are still navigating your identity. What exactly do you mean? Do you mind just going a bit into that? The whole navigating your identity. Because I guess you're now navigating, your identity in society at the same time. But let's start there, where you are at right now. Lesbian for now.
So, sort of being introduced or walking into a community that gives you an alphabet to pick from, and understanding that if you're a woman who is attracted to or is sleeping with other women, then automatically there is an L for you. Or if you're a woman who is sleeping with other women as well as men, there's a B for you. If you're navigating through that and having moved from a person who had heterosexual relationships, then got to a point where I became more self-aware of my attraction towards people of the same sex. And now also having politics around the L and what it means, what pressures come with it. And then looking at the Q at the far end of the alphabet and thinking, but this feels more politically, more socially, it feels more familiar and more like home. So it's a bit of a move through that, and also kind of contesting being put in all those letters, or having to pick a letter to fit into. So that is where I am at with.
Okay, so for you, you don't necessarily want to fit in any of the letters,
which also gives me the non-binary option, or the gender fluid, or the and that's another bracket.
All right.
Yes.
But then now, without now wanting to fit in some of this thing, does this not then give you more problems when you're now navigating also the society out there and the community in itself? Because some will ask, could you not identify yourself? Are you just floating somewhere? Do you not belong somewhere? Or are you just colored? You don't belong anywhere.
I like the colored reference. I feel like you
Yeah, I will get into that one.
Yeah. But there's also too much pressure.
Yeah.
Before I have even figured myself out, I need to be answering to other people about who I am. And I feel like that pressure and having to confine and conform to it leaves me with so much to question and so much to figure out all on myself. So I have taken let me do me first and figure myself out, and then if I need to give you answers, at some point if I have them and I feel the need to, I will then give you answers.
Okay.
So that's where I have been with having to conform and then speaking it out into the community, society.
Oh, okay. And Ms. Black, you said something similar in terms of like right now, here and right now, you would rather be seen called lesbian. So does that mean you're open to other, in terms of this soup?
Okay,
or you're somewhere else altogether?
I feel in our community we are, like what Fafi was saying, we're forced to choose.
Okay.
Which letter of the alphabet are you? But I can be whoever I want. Sex is not about being with a guy or being with a girl, it's about being with everybody.
Yes, come on.
Because can I tell you something? Because at the end of the day, most of us have been in heterosexual relationships before. And that's why I'm saying that it's all about having sex with everybody.
Okay.
You first started off with a heterosexual relationship, and then as time goes on you get to figure yourself out. So I think everybody's sexuality is a process. You take time to figure yourself out. There are moments when you are sure I am so lesbian, and then the next time you see a cute guy, like, okay, I could try that. But then you don't want to be put in a box. You just want to be a human being. I actually label myself as a sexual person. No boxes, nothing. I just have sex. I'm attracted to whoever.
I see.
Whenever. I don't have to be, put in a little box and stay in there, So yeah.
Okay. That's quite interesting. I'll get back to that one. Well, you were quite clear, bottom for life for gay men.
Well, okay. I sort of agree with the issues around identity. As a gay man, I think probably I come from a space of a lot of privilege. So educational background, financial background. So I've had the chance to see all the identities now. So I said to myself, this is what I agree with. I love the DEI. I'm very happy. I feel that. But then I think also part of it is, it's obviously there's that exposure. The more that you're exposed, obviously, the more that the alphabet becomes. So, for example, if you're looking at the trans movement and identity, you find that a lot of people start off by identifying as I am gay or I am lesbian or I am bisexual. But the more that they explore and the more that somebody is exposed to other sources of influence, whether it's the people that you mix with, the information that you receive, the more that you begin to realize that no, actually, it's not about who I'm attracted to, it's about my gender identity, it's about who I am as a person.
Okay.
So I think obviously for me, I've had that sort of privilege to have all that exposure, and I've said, look, am I trans? Not really, because I'm very happy with the body that I have. It gels with the way I want to have sex, the way I want to enjoy pleasure, so it's, for me, it's just always been very clear, and it's nice to then explore. And I think over the last couple of months or two, I've really begun to explore what does it mean to be a gay man. Does that mean this is about the way that I dress? Is it about the way I enjoy myself? Is it about how I enjoy intimacy with other men? So yeah, for me it's a journey. It's an ongoing journey. It's not like, I think as all the panelists have been saying, it's not just like you get there, for sure. Even if you have a fixed identity, you actually realize that there's so many layers to it. So are you bottom? Are you top? What are the politics around that? Are you versatile? Are you a queer gay man? Are you, there's so many other identities that speak to it. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Alright, so now in terms of this whole, huge parts of identities and all that, does it not then, problematize pretty much everything else that we're trying to navigate around? I don't know. What do you think? In terms of because you're saying this whole exploration, everybody's always exploring something, but then we're surrounded with a society that thinks, the moment you're born, yes, you're heterosexual, full stop. Now once start, diving into this other things, you know, going, you know, to the other side. Oh, it's a white thing. Oh, these are demons, you know, where it's a chin and all that jazz and everything, you know. So, because for me, in terms of my own experiences, in terms of being a queer person, I can't separate them from my race, you know, because it's always there. It's always the whole, okay, you know, yes, you know, this is who I am, and I'm also a colored person. You know, what does it mean? You know, being queer and being colored, because already, you know, I'm always faced with the issues that I have to now deal with being a colored person in society now, you know, now having to be now in the minority, and then also being part of another minority that also has its own ideas of whom I'm supposed to behave, how I'm supposed to be, you know, as a queer person who happens to be also colored, you know. But then I guess, you know, I'll get into those other stuff. So now in terms of now being lesbian, gay, queer, whatever, now getting into the society issues, because within our community, you know, there's, I guess, you know, the stereotypes to say, okay, you know, this is how a gay top is, this is how a gay bottom is, this is how a butch lesbian is, this is how a femme lesbian is, you know. So now I guess, okay, let's start there before I then get into the question that I wanted to get into in terms of you going through your exploration of, okay, am I lesbian, am I queer, am I bisexual? How have, you know, what has it been like now having to deal with, you know, now the stereotypes or the things that are expected of you by the LGBTIQ community itself, to say, okay, as a woman, this is how you're supposed to act. Could you kind of just, you know, quick, you know, briefly?
Okay, so most of what we have become has come from how we were socialized.
Okay.
For me, that is what I identify with. And my socialization has been from a religious, cultural, very, not completely primitive, but there has been a lot of religious African hand that has led my way. Mm-hmm. So to grow up in such a life, mm-hmm. and to then realize and acknowledge my sexuality, mm-hmm. and to try and move that socialization and mm-hmm. say, but there is also this. Mm-hmm. It still gels together. It still moves together.
Okay.
And to then become a lesbian and then be a femme looking or femme presenting lesbian, mm-hmm. and the power dynamics that come with that and the relationships that are supposed to form out of that, mm-hmm. and understanding how you are still subscribing to heteronormative narratives even within relationships of same-sex mm-hmm. people, mm-hmm. that has been, I think, one of the hardest things to go through. Mm-hmm. But it's still self-exploration, that is continuous, and that is it's a learning process.
Uh-huh. And for me, I think I can totally relate to that in terms of when I began this journey of exploration as, you know, a gay man, queer man, and everything. You know, there were a lot of things that have been, you know, coming through my filters to say, okay, this is how, you know, this is the person you're supposed to be. Because, you know, I met individuals the first time they said, no, you're obviously a bottom, and I'm like, okay, all right, you know. And then for a while, like, okay, let me flow. That's what people see, so maybe that's who I'm supposed to be at. But then now some issues that I then started coming up was like, no, but then, you know, it can't be all there is, you know, because what's the point of being a gay man when I cannot enjoy everything that's on offer? Because that's how I look at it as a gay. I'm like, oh, I can't, you know, just like, oh no, I'm strictly bottom, I'm strictly top. I'm like, you're missing out on what's there, you know. Why shouldn't I explore? But then when I started then exploring that, that's when a whole new world opened to me. But then I've met people who are like, you know, choose a struggle. I'm like, what do you mean choose a struggle? I'm like, what do you mean choose a struggle? I'm already in a struggle. You know, being me, I'm already struggling. You know, what do you mean I should choose a struggle and stick to it? You know, and this is people coming from within the community, and then I've had drama with regards to the whole you know, because for me, I absolutely hate makeup with a passion. You know, I hate it on me. I would rather have it on another person, but I'm like, on me, no, unless you are paying me and I'm on stage performing, that's when I can, try to have it on me. Even there, it's always a problem. I've always had issues when I was now, in drama school, where I was like, I do not want it on my face, but then I had to have it. But then now the whole, how can you be bottom and not like makeup? But I'm like, I'm a human being. I've got things that I like.
Likes and dislikes.
Likes and I've seen, see you nodding. Have you ever been through that in terms of what is expected of you and who you are now as a person, how it's now clashing within the safe space of it, this space that is supposed to be safe, but then you're finding people that are telling you no, that is not how you're supposed to identify yourself, or you're breaking away from who you're supposed to be.
Okay, the first few times that I got to meet people from the community, throughout high school, I can say I was a bit butch, right?
Yeah.
I was butch throughout high school. So after finishing high school, I grew up in a very religious family with pastors and whatnot. So I was forced to act like a girl. I had to learn how to do my makeup, how to swing, and then when I first came to the people in the community, like what you're saying, everybody is asking you, are you femme, are you butch? And I'm all of that. I can wake up feeling like a man tomorrow, and I can wake up feeling girlish tomorrow. So I feel that our community forces us to pick a struggle. I want to have the best of both worlds. I want to have my cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
I want to be called daddy sometimes.
Yes, daddy.
Yes, daddy. So I feel that the community puts a lot of pressure on people picking a struggle. You can just be who you are. You want to be butch, you want to be femme, it's okay. But if I want to be both, I'm allowed, right? So I feel that the community puts pressure on people to pick a struggle. What more is society at large going to do, If we put pressure on ourselves, how is the world outside going to treat us?
I don't know, maybe the pressure will be more, I guess, let me try to come up with an excuse in terms of this all coming up with the struggle, it's a very lame, weak excuse, but I'm just thinking, just maybe the idea of picking a struggle might be also to sort of like, help the issues outside with the community at large, because they're already going through trying to figure out the whole acronym, and then you come up like, no, I do not fit in any of these things, and then I go, okay, so what the hell is going on in there?
I remember I had a day where I posted my pictures on Facebook. Those who are friends with me on Facebook. I was looking hot as hell. Excuse my French. I was dressed as a butch, and I was looking fly. And then somebody came to my inbox and they're like, I'm like, okay. People are gonna be confused if you're a butch or you're a femme. Who cares? Are we supposed to, just because I'm femme, I'm supposed to like a butch person? Just because I'm a butch, I'm only supposed to like a femme person? Can't I like everybody? That's what I meant when I said you can have sex with everybody. I'm allowed to like a butch person or a femme person. That's on me. That's what I like. So am I forced to wear makeup on a daily basis? There are moments I want to let loose, let them hang. I don't know.
Hang loose. Hang long.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Just to go back to something you said about trying to package our gay in a way that outside society understands us. I have a very it makes me cringe that I have to live and be gay in a certain way that you get to understand that no, when we're together, so this is the mommy version and this is the daddy version of our relationship. Like, no, fam, no. Can we not continue having to conform to that pressure? I think I've started calling bullshit to so many things.
And to us.
After coming out to my family, I stopped trying to live to please people when it comes to my sexuality. Of course, I still try and please people about everything else. But when it comes to my sexuality, I stopped trying to live a certain expectation about. So I'll introduce this as my friend and tell you that no, we're just friends. But when I know I'm going to be sleeping with her in my bedroom in the evening, I will not do that shit. I will not walk around and be asked Saka Mama Ndiani Dedi Ndiani and take that. And I will not explain myself continuously when I get asked, so are you serious? This is the lifestyle you have chosen for yourself. Do you not imagine yourself having kids? So you never think of sleeping with a man. I now have a serious low tolerance for such.
You haven't had the right day.
You haven't had the right day.
Who have you been sleeping with?
Clearly you haven't been, it hasn't been hit right, you know, things like that. So I've started just not taking that.
I've been told there's someone who wants to share something from this side. Anybody wants to throw in? Yes.
I like that.
We're waiting.
Okay, like I understand when just before we begin, people were asking, are you bi, are you lesbian, are you from experience, I used to remember that growing up, it was simply about, oh, I like that girl, probably because she's got nice teeth. Oh, I like that girl because I like her mouth, or etc. etc. It has never been really, I'm supposed to identify as somebody, like, who am I? I thought probably just being a girl is enough. But apparently, when you get into the community, people expect answers from you. They want to know exactly who do you want to be with, what's your preference. But what I came to understand is half of the time if you are asked what's your type, for me that's the most difficult question ever. So somebody will be like, oh, are you dating? And then I'll say, no, I'm not dating. I'm like, oh, okay, if I don't want, I'll hook you up. So what's your type? Like, I don't even know what type of coffee I want to date. How will I know who I want to be with? Because I always believe attraction can never really be put in a box. It just comes and goes. I'm attracted to you, it happens lately. I don't have to predetermine that I'm going to be attracted to somebody like this. Because maybe the person that I have in my head is different from the person that I'm going to meet. So I never really get the whole, you should know who you are, you should get your type. And then I can also understand why people ask certain questions. Because we have people who are lucky, I can use the word lucky, they know who they are, they grew up knowing, saying, okay, fine, if I'm a lesbian, I'm a lesbian, I like girls like this, blah blah blah. So now when they come to me and then they're going to ask me, so do you like girls or do you like both, or what exactly is your take? And I'm like, you know what, I just have sex, lots of it, I don't care, I just have sex. They'll probably feel as if we are not giving them enough, because one would want to know, should I invest in you or not? Because maybe one day you wake up and say, I'm done with that sex, I'm moving on to the next. So I can also understand why certain questions come about, because people would want to know that, those who are so sure, they would want to know, should I invest in you or should I not?
Well, I wish someone would invest in me, but anyway.
I guess I'm going to be echoing what everyone has been saying. I will give an example of myself. I think I've been with everything that is out there. Like trans, male, female, what, everything. I think I've been there. It's made me realize I like whatever is there at that moment. Even before I got married, I was asked, are you sure you want to marry a woman? And I said, look, it would be the same thing if I was with a man. It's, for me, I didn't put a boundary to what I wanted in my life. I said, as long as I find someone whose bullshit I can take, man, woman, dog, cat, it's, for me,
Horses too.
Horses too. If I can take the bullshit, it's okay, I will commit. So I had an open door. I still have it, an open door policy. It's just because I'm married to a woman doesn't mean if it doesn't work out, I still want to be with a woman. I might end up with a man 20 years from now. So I guess people's beliefs have stemmed from the heteronormative upbringing, and so the expectation is everything should work in a systematic way. So man, woman, because even in our relationships in the house, you find that okay, I don't mind the heteronormative system kind of work in my house. For me, it's a preference for me, not because I don't support it in other spaces, but for me, I don't mind when I believe in systems. For me, they work. But I also believe that people must have the freedom to pick what works for them. If you're dating a woman, it shouldn't be because you're daddy. You go for work and come back. I will cook, and sometimes we can switch roles. I won't wake up. Sometimes I don't want to cook. Can you cook, or will we sleep hungry because I said I want to cook? I didn't say I want to be with a woman. I want to be with a butch woman because I want the assumption of being with a man. I love women. It just so happens my preference is butch. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing. So, with this now, I want to kind of sort of now get into the experiences of navigating through society, and with that I'm just going to maybe share a bit in terms of my own experiences navigating society. And for me, not necessarily as a gay person, but as I said, I can't separate my race from my sexuality because they're tied in terms of the issues to do with bullshit. So for us, colored people, getting our national identity documents, you don't just get it as a colored person. There's additional processes that you have to go through. Right now, I haven't yet found someone who can give me a valid answer as to why we have to go through that, because pride has just always been there. So when you're getting your ID, you go wherever that is you go, be it markets, way, employment center and everything. For a colored person, they won't give you the ID until the registrar at that place sees you in person and does an interview. That's like every colored person, you have to, as long as you got 00 and you're a colored on the end, those digits at the end of your ID that sort of talk about your reserves, where you come from. For us it's 00, so we literally don't exist, we don't belong anywhere according to the system. So if the registrar is not there, you won't get your ID. If he says no, you won't get your ID. And some of the questions that they ask you, you'll be wondering, what the fuck are you asking me this about? Because I remember when I lost my ID again last year, I went and they sent me to Market Square because of the employments, and they're like, oh no, the registrar's not in today, so we can't give you an ID, so you have to go to Market Square. So I went to Market Square, person wasn't there. I had to wait until 4:30. Imagine I was there, from 8 a.m. and just sitting until 4:30 when the person then decided to see me. I was like, okay. So when we're in there now, some of the questions they asked me was like, do I want to get married? And I'm like,
I don't know.
What does that have?
It must have to do with anything. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, if I then don't answer the question, he might say no. In terms of, there's a paper that he has to actually sign and stamp that I then have to take to those who then do the photos and everything to say, oh yes, I've been interviewed. I've been approved to get the ID, the whole. So I was like, no, I don't want to get married. And I was like, oh, so you want to stay young forever? I'm like,
yes.
If I can.
That kind of thing. And it's also the same with passports. For us in terms of passports, ask any colored person who's got on a passport, they tell you of room 100. You're sent to room 100. Before they even allow you to buy the form, you have to go to room 100, where you have to list where your grandparents came from, what they did, where your parents came from, what they did, and some questions. And for me, when I got my passport, I'm like, I'm the 9th child of, you know, quite a large family, because my family is really big and has got so many complications in between. So my oldest sibling, his first child is 8 years older than me. So you can imagine the generational gap that's there. I never got to see my grandparents. I have no idea about them because they both passed away before the time I was interested in finding out about some of these things, and both my parents died when I was young. So really I have no one to kind of really tell me all this stuff. So I'm there with this form that I've got to, you know, come up with things and, you know, get all the stuff going through. And then now, you know, I'm going through all this, you know, BS, and then now within the society, and then to then add the whole sexuality on top, you know, be like, okay, yeah, I already got issues from the system itself. Now when, you know, let's say the government workers or whatever, then find out like, oh, this colored person is queer, I don't know now, like, would I then be able to get that ID, you know, depending on whatever prejudice that person has a particular day? Because, you know, one of my friends, you know, he didn't, you know, there's a certain day where he got denied his ID because he pissed off, you know, Arnold, he's got a big mouth. So you know, the person who was doing the IDs, and the person was like, no. So he, you know, come back tomorrow. You know, and he had to, you know, go there for several days until he eventually got his ID. So I want to kind of then, you know, sort of then find out in terms of now you as this, you know, queer lesbian person, in terms of now, yeah, you are out, right? So how has that been for you now in terms of the society at large? You know, you're out to your family owner, or are you out to everybody? Like, you know, even Amaile Pakwana knows that.
About that. I don't need to be out everybody's trying to know about who I'm sleeping with. Also, I have a huge problem with not a problem, but I'm becoming more and more aware of power and my relationship with power in different systems.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at a heterosexual person, a cisgender heterosexual woman walking around and walking about, and not having to explain to anyone who she is, not having to talk about. So I'm a lesbian and I really like women, and so please don't judge me. I don't see that happening with cis-het women. And for me, having to continuously explain who I am, what I prefer, what I don't like, these advances, please don't do this in a certain way, like that has been one path of navigation that has been a challenge. And also just looking at dealing with power and privilege on so many levels within society. So you were identifying your layers of levels of minority, right? And you gave me colored, you gave me queer. I am black, woman, lesbian. We look at education, we look at how I was raised, financial status, we're looking at all of those things. And growing up through all these layers of things, and trying to navigate in a society that everyone else has a different perception of how the world should be, and feeling as though I owe them an explanation in a way that they should understand me. There is so much pressure from society, and sometimes I just don't. I just don't, because I don't feel like I owe anyone an explanation. I feel like I am still my own person at the end of the day. I'm still trying to be me, and if you're going to come to me and be a friend and be genuine and be in my space and give something and feed into my space, then I might try and speak to you. I might try and communicate with you and say, so this is who I am. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm completely comfortable with who I am. If you are not, it's okay. We are allowed to be different. But to the entire world, to stand on a podium and give the I am queer and I'm proud to be queer, and no, there's so much pressure from society to live up that expectation.
I totally relate to that. You know, the whole constant pressure of always having to explain yourself. You know, because I remember when I was studying at the usage, you know, I always had to then, you know, qualify my coloredness. You know, the whole, no, you know, you're just a light-skinned black person. I'm like, okay.
guess.
You know, because that's what some felt like. You know, I'm just trying to be bougie. You know, but I'm just a light-skinned black person because you don't sound colored. You know, I'm like okay. I'm like okay. You know, I'm like just. Just because I don't go, and then, start being awful, be sounding as if I'm from Arcadia. I'm like, no, I don't have to sound as if I'm coming from Arcadia for me to be, because those are things that I had to, going through that. And then also the whole hair test. Oh, your hair is because even within the colored community, the issue of hair is quite a tricky thing. Because for some of us, like, already it's a whole title saying, oh, your mother was black. So already, for some have issues with that in terms of, who your mother is. Because it's an issue, amongst a whole lot of colored families, the whole mother, like, what? So now with the whole hair, like, oh, when you then don't have this hair, they know exactly, like, oh yeah. So most likely, your mother was black, that kind of thing, and you're having to go through all of that, and then someone went as far as to tell me when I was at the UZ that no, you can't be colored and be at the UZ because colored people do not finish high school. So I was like okay, so I'm supposed to be a mechanic or a hairdresser or a DJ. Those are the only three things. Qualified. So so these are my experiences of navigating society, because they expect me to be either one of those three. I have to be a DJ, a mechanic, or a hairdresser, and I don't even know how to drive. So so yeah, always having to explain. So that's why for me now, I get vexed when someone calls me a yellow bone. I get vexed, and I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who gets vexed. Because, I guess, and even there are some other colored people as well who get violent, when you call them yellow bone. Because they're like, you're now then trying to erase my race. Already, in other countries, we are seen as black people, but come in Zim, the government itself will not accept us to be black. They refuse our blackness. I've even met someone who was like, no, you can't claim to be black. You're trying to gentrify my blackness. I was like, wow. I was like, what the F? So, what am I? At the end of the day, So yeah, your experiences and then
my experience is okay.
Navigating society. You said throughout high school you were butch.
Yes.
So how was that?
Well, my first okay. I went to a girls' school. Guys, wait. But I knew about my sexuality way before that. Right? And then when I eventually went to a girls' school, all I could look at was ass. Ass. And you know how it is when you're bathing with other girls. Yes, we can bath and but in my head I'm like, that's ass. And because our school was associated with homosexuality, like we had a lot of issues where the headmistress would overlook important things like the food, and she'd be like, and it was hard. You can't be, people tend to use your sexuality over the things that you need in life. We wanted good food, we wanted bedding, and all she could think of was if people were to walk around ready to if I was going to sleep to Emma's dorm room, whatever, hey, Emma you know how it is. So it was a struggle because a lot of the girls at our school identified as lesbians. But you know how it is when after high school, like my first experience with a girl, I was with this girl. throughout high school, I was like, you know how it is when you see somebody and you're weak in the knees and you're having palpitations, you're hyperventilating, that kind of thing. And then I met that girl years later, like she was married. I got married after high school. I met that girl. She literally ran away. I was like, direction. She just ran. I'm like, okay, you know. So it's not easy coming from a background where people judge you before they know you. You know, all of my schools, my girls' high schools, one associate when homosexual. Look at girls' high. A lot of children, they are harassed, you know. So for me, it's been a struggle. And being married, like after high school, I got married, and then after my marriage, you know, dissolved. You know, people tend to judge you like, but you took dick, so you know, community will always put you in an uncomfortable space. Like you, like my sister. When I came out to my sister, she was like, so you are bisexual. I'm like, something like that. And she's like, so you also like women? And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, that's why you're always with those tomboy girls. Yeah. And then to my parents, it's something they know, but they never talk about. I always bring everybody I date to my parents. Not everybody, but you know, serious relationships. To my parents. And they go behind my back. To my sister, they know, but they go behind my back. My sister's like, Saka, people don't have the guts to ask me. And recently I went to Kumusha, my Gogo is like, hey, askana chitaira mwana wechitu. Atonotango wonoka murume akanyatsodaida. I'm like, okay. I'm not gonna get married to a man again. And you are still young, Manana. You are gifted. You are still young. You will find someone.
At least you insisted a man again. I still didn't get it.
But I literally told her, I am not going to marry a man. Like, no, we even prayed about it. And you're like, God, please do not listen to this woman's And then I came out to my husband, my husband then. And he was like, oh.
You were still together when you came out?
Yes. And he was like, okay.
Wow.
Okay. So apparently everybody from his side of the family knows that I'm into women.
Damn.
Wasn't you on some threesome thing?
No. No. But then guys always do that. You go to the club and you're like, I'm a lesbian, so can I fuck your girlfriend?
What's it? Oh.
Yeah, so, you know, community will always judge. And then my husband's relatives are like, so when are you going to get married again? You know, my in-laws, we talk. My God, soon. Very soon. So community sometimes forces us to pretend to be people that we are not. You know? Like when I'm around my grandmother, I have to pretend to like guys a lot. Because it's very traditional. You know? There was one point that she introduced me to a pastor of a church where she's like, I'm so cool, you. I'm my JD and I just kind of check and this guy's like, I was like, Another issue is like when people go out, everybody goes out, right? You go out with your bae, whatever. You're sitting there. I went out with this person I was dating, younger person, with guy friends, and one of my guy's friends was touchy-feely with my bae. I was like, Sha, you need to stop that. And she was like, Sha, stop touching me. And then I got pissed. Like, can't you hear she's saying no? And then he's like, like, so?
And then
hey, I was who have you been sleeping with? So sometimes we pretend to be people we are not to avoid confrontations in public. Because had I confronted this man, maybe we would have fought, and I would have been arrested or something, or maybe I would have been hurt. So sometimes community just forces us to be who we are not. It's easier for us, fluid people. We can blend in, but yeah, community plays a big role in our identities and in coming out, how we present ourselves.
And what about you, Tina?
Probably for me, on a personal level, is I've never really had much of a struggle.
Okay.
More so because I believe I pass very well. People assume I'm heterosexual, maybe I'm just not gay enough. So I'm almost gay but not gay enough. So for me, so when you're the single but actually I like dick, maybe people just look at you like weird, like okay,
you don't have to say I like dick. I like dick.
It's like no, because it's like okay, you're asking me about this, what does this have to do with? So I'm consulting, I'm on the field, I mean wherever I am, and then sometimes but I'm not gonna say, look, I like dick. Okay, so the next question about is what do you think about child marriage? But I'm not that sort of person. So yeah, it's for me. It's and I think also because then I ally very strongly with the trans intersex movement. I see that's where I really see the politics of where visibility and passing. That's where it really plays out in terms of identity. Because then you're a trans man, you go to a venue and there's only male and female toilets. Right. So where do we start from? Where does this dynamic, where do we begin from here? So for me, my own personal experience would be like, okay, I won't lie, like when I was in high school going to the showers, I'll be the first one in the showers with my 3 doggies. Don't money towel and not sit here until right. Let's see. Let us see what is happening here. But guys, I think even from your own experiences, people are just like so free when you're in the bathroom. Because like for everyone has the same sexuality or with the same gender. But now imagine you're trans or you're intersex, where it's not just about what is internal, it's about the physical expression of the self. That's where now the politics of visibility and passing really play out. Because now you're saying to yourself, okay, so toilet wise, no pink, which one? Because if I go into I don't feel comfortable. I'm a trans man. I don't feel comfortable going to the ladies' bathroom. That's not in my bathroom, and I'm gonna go in there and something just might happen. Like somebody might come out the toilet and really fly. Or do I go in the guys' toilet but part of my urinals? Right. So like, what's the game plan here? Like do I awkwardly stand at the urinal? Do I wait by the door until the cubicle's opened up? So for me, that's sort of like, because my main focus and my experience on that is more on activism, engagement with the community. That's where it's like, for me, it's just been like, how do we navigate that? Because then as I say, you should not feel compelled to justify. But when it's something as basic as which toilet do I go to, already you're being compelled to now explain why people on toilet, someone's asking you, your room is the next one, you're in the wrong toilet. So, where do you come from? You've had the whole issue around Ricky going to court and because she was caught in the wrong toilet and it's loitering. And those dynamics are things that I honestly can say I don't know how to navigate them. How do we even begin? Where does the conversation start? Does it mean that every time you're going to have to out yourself and say, okay, so identifiers, if I need to go to this toilet, what is it? Because then it adds to then how you engage with yourself, with the community at large. It's got so many layers to it. So for me, I think probably that's where for me the whole issue around engaging with identity and the broader community that really plays out is that passing and visibility. If you are visibly gay, so if you're like a femme gay man, I've got like super femme friends. Like in town, you'll be dropping down in like the middle of 2nd Street. And people give you this eye, but that's just who the person is. So what do you do tonight? They're like, hey, or what do you accept it? Because you're living that same reality. What do you do? How do you sort of engage with that reality? So I think that's probably where the challenge has been for me.
Before I jump at that, would you want to share?
Sorry. I'd refer back to what Tino said in terms of just being in a space where you want to go clubbing and then you want to go to the bathroom. I'll share one experience that I had. Me and a friend, we decided let's go out, and we're drinking So we said, oh, let's go use the bathroom. So this is us, we are all masculine and all. So we get to, there was the female's toilet. So there was a group of guys standing outside. So we tried entering into the toilet. They're like, oh, guys, you're getting into the wrong toilet. So we're like, oh, shit, you know. So we got into the male toilet. Here we are. There is only the urinary. There wasn't cubicles. So these guys were watching, right, to see what was gonna happen. Wow. So we were holding our black label bottles, and then we stood there, and then we started pouring our beer into the urinary to seem like we're actually urinating. So that kind of experience, like it's, you know, I was really pressed and I wanted to relieve myself.
Yeah.
So the minute I got out of the toilet, we're like, let's look for a bush and just go pee.
Yeah.
And recently I was in Botswana, so I was looking at myself and I was like, okay, should I go use the female bathroom or should I go use the male bathroom? So I literally had to ask, you know, the people that I was with to say, on our way back to the hotel,
We went to the bush.
let's stop somewhere. I really need to relieve myself. So it's usually the fear of just being exposed. What are people going to say? It's often even when you're in a hotel, you're attending a conference, you really want to pee, and then somebody walks in and then they'll like kind of get out and look at and say, am I in the right toilet? Is it a man in the wrong bathroom, or they can't read? That's where my issue has literally been around. Like recently, I was in a combi getting into town, and this guy, he was driving past. So I was sitting in the front seat. He shouts, he's like, can I ask urumskana kana turunkomana? And this is somebody who's not within the combi. It's somebody who's just driving past. And then I was like, oh, you know, with confidence. He was like, I think you're a she-male. He literally shouted that, right? And I'm like, okay. And then the combi guy was like, yo, what's your problem? And then the guy was like, I'm a she-male, I want to Zimbabwe. And this is somebody who feels they can just shout anything, like it's the hate speech. Why are you wearing a more feminine shoe, but you kind of look like you're a girl, so why are you dressed the way you're dressed? And it's also family. When it comes to family, I feel like my nieces are really struggling. They're like, call me Uncle Daddy, and my sister has been saying, you know what, you're confusing my kids. Like, this is not cool, because they're supposed to be calling you aunt of some sort, but now they have that confusion. Is it uncle? Is it daddy? What should we then say? So that's where my struggle as a person has kind of surrounded around.
Okay. You wanted to say something?
Okay. I will be like taking you backwards from what we started from. On the issue of coming out. Just after, I'll start when I was in high school. When we were at the dorms, some other guys are streams ahead of me. They'll see that I'm gay, so they kind of accepted it. They were friendly. High school was okay. And one would even, you know how boys like peeing on the window. Like passing through, like say, oh.
Yes. I like this. Yes.
You know. So our school was kind of awesome. You know?
Into that.
All that in your face.
The struggle came when after high school, you know, Zim started going to some sort of colleges and then drop out and then started hanging out. Me coming from a ghetto, you know, you know how it is like, and our house is just near the shopping center. So most of my time I'll go spend it on the shopping center, drinking, even the masses.
Clean.
you know. So, I didn't have to pay you, you know. So I say, I was so sincere. Mukutabo, many manage. My internet. To my surprise, when they are seeing, you know, tomorrow morning, the first thing when you get to the center, you know, everyone like. And it starts ringing in your head that something happened. So I was struggling a lot, trying to prove myself. Yes, I'm gay, so what? I remember one incident. There was this guy, you know, I should say my location, and a camera and I can't. When you went from a shop, so I stood up and was my flower beds, you know. So he went to my mom's friend, and saying, "Hey, I had to go to him and say and tell him, Kuti, next time when you've got something you want to know about me, stand up come to me and ask me ukuudza zvazviri zvawaifa uchivhunza uchitingo chamiri ndizvo chaizvo.
Yes.
Nyaya tuchipota tuchibuda pese todangwira nemunhu twabuda tunyaya ndakazongoti one other day panoda kutanga kutaura pari ndikati ndiri ngochani ndini mainini vacho zvinofamba sei ndini mainini vacho. So now the people vandinomwa navo and vari padhuze paarea pedu now they know kuti he's gay. Those who are very much closer to me, there's even decided to give me a name. They'll be like, get away. Just now when I was coming here, that I was walking a little bit fast. Can't get away. When am I? Massive night. So I'm coming out, you know, but it's not everyone who accepts it. Just I think 2-3 weeks ago, this other guy, I got you know, from and then everyone was around. Maybe they expected that I was going to retaliate, but I didn't. I just completed him. Kushikanyana egg. Mangwana ubabuya. And then the other guy came. It's so funny. They said that kind of work. You didn't go to the king and the cinema. Oh, she's here. We can't see it. Who was the media? She is. Okay. What was the cinema? There's a couple of 290 name. Yeah. I'm just way. I'm just so far from. So can I just do maybe that might happen, you know?
Okay. Okay. So we've come to the end of today's talk show. I'm sure.
Just like that.
Just like that. Just you like know, that. my producer said my time is up. You know, the conversations were really flowing. We're enjoying ourselves. Did you guys have fun?
Yes.
You did? Are you sure?
Okay. Questions.
It's a lot of questions. I'm sure during lunch we're gonna